The United States and Iran are at war. Real bombs, real casualties, real military strikes, and in 5 days, Iran's football team will walk out onto a pitch in Los Angeles, California to play a World Cup match on American soil. Their fans have been banned, their tickets revoked, their staff denied visas, their head coach forced to train in Mexico, and FIFA said, "Let the game go on, stay right here, because what is happening right now is unlike anything in the history of football." Welcome to FIFA Revolt, the channel that covers what mainstream media is too scared to say out loud. Today we are breaking down the single most politically explosive story of the 2026 World Cup. A story involving war, immigration crackdowns, government visa bans, stadium worker strikes, and a football federation that is caught right in the middle of an international conflict. This is not just a football story. This is a story about power, politics, and what happens when the world's biggest sporting event collides with the world's most dangerous geopolitical crisis. Let's go. How did we get here? To understand what is happening right now, we need to go back to February 28, 2026. That is the date when the United States and Israel launched coordinated military strikes on Iran. The attacks killed Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, along with dozens of top government officials. Iran responded immediately with strikes on multiple U.S. military facilities across the Middle East. The two countries have been in an active state of war ever since, and right in the middle of all of this, Iran had already qualified for the World Cup, already been drawn into Group G, already scheduled to play 2 games in Los Angeles, the city with the largest Iranian diaspora community in the entire United States. Trump himself posted on social media saying he did not feel it was appropriate for Iran to participate, quote, for their own life and safety. He told Iran's team they were welcome, but strongly suggested they should not come. But FIFA President Gianni Infantino insisted the show must go on, and eventually Trump backed down, saying, and we quote, "Gianni is fantastic, he's a friend of mine. He talked about it, I said, you do whatever you want. You do whatever you want." That is how the decision was made to let a team from a country at war with the host nation play on that same nation's soil. The visa nightmare Iran's problems did not stop there, not even close. The original plan was for Iran's team to set up their base camp in Tucson, Arizona. That plan collapsed almost immediately. The United States denied visas to several key members of Iran's delegation, including Mehdi Taj, the president of the Iranian Football Federation and a sitting member of multiple FIFA committees. Iran's federation described the decision as political interference in sport in its worst form. The U.S. government fired back, saying they would not allow Iran to, quote, abuse the system to sneak terrorists into the United States under false pretenses. So Iran's team was forced at the last minute to relocate their entire base camp across the border to Tijuana, Mexico. They arrived at Tijuana International Airport at 5 a.m. after an overnight flight from Turkey, where they had been training for 3 weeks, and here is the image that tells you everything you need to know about this situation. Iran's national football team, arriving by bus to train at a stadium in Tijuana, escorted by members of Mexico's National Guard, a football team, escorted by armed soldiers, just to get to training. This has never happened in the history of the World Cup. Tickets revoked, fans blocked, and it gets worse. Much worse. Just 3 days before the World Cup kicked off, the United States revoked Iran's entire fan ticket allocation. Let that sink in. Iran supporters, people who had already booked flights, hotels, and travel plans, had their official World Cup tickets canceled by the U.S. government days before the tournament began. Iran's Football Federation released a furious statement saying, with less than 3 days remaining until the start of the 2026 World Cup, the United States has once again acted to obstruct the presence of Iranian supporters at the stadiums hosting the national team's 3 group stage matches. They added, depriving Iranian supporters of access to their lawful and official allocation of tickets is an action contrary to the spirit governing international competitions and the principle of equality among participating countries. Equal treatment, that is all they asked for, the same rights as every other nation competing in this tournament, and the US government said no. ICE agents, worker strikes, and stadium chaos. Meanwhile, inside the United States, something else was brewing. Reports emerged that ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, was planning to deploy agents at World Cup venues. The reaction was immediate and furious. Workers at SoFi Stadium, the venue hosting Iran's 2 Los Angeles matches, voted to authorize a strike. 2,000 bartenders, servers, cooks, and dishwashers said they would walk off the job if ICE agents were present. Stadium cook Isaac Martinez said it plainly, ICE should have no role in these games. We do not want to live in fear coming to work, or fear being detained going home. Think about that for a second. The workers who serve food and drinks at the World Cup were so afraid of what might happen that they were prepared to shut down the entire venue. Eventually, after enormous pressure, LA County Sheriff Robert Luna confirmed that civil immigration enforcement would not take place at World Cup games in Los Angeles. The workers reached a last-minute deal and agreed to stay on the job, but Luna himself added a warning. Any of that is subject to change, but I have trust that they're giving me the appropriate information, because if that starts occurring, we're going to have a whole new host of problems, a whole new host of problems. At the World Cup, in America, the reaction around the world has been one of disbelief. Iranian fans who had saved for years to watch their national team at a World Cup, many of them living in Los Angeles, in the very city where the games are being played, are now locked out, tickets canceled, visas denied, blocked from watching their own team. The Iraqi team also got caught up in the chaos. Their official team photographer was detained at Chicago O'Hare Airport for 12 hours before being denied entry. Their striker Ayman Hussein was held by U.S. immigration authorities for 7 hours upon arrival before finally being released. And a referee from Somalia, Omar Artan, was denied entry at Miami International Airport. A World Cup referee denied entry to the country hosting the World Cup. Human rights groups, football fan organizations, and political leaders across the world have condemned what is happening. The Council on Foreign Relations described the situation as geopolitical tensions colliding directly with football in a way that has never been seen before at a World Cup. And through all of it, FIFA has said almost nothing. No emergency statement, no press conference, no condemnation, no action. Here is the FIFA Revolt take, and we will not hold back. FIFA chose to host this World Cup in the United States, knowing full well that America's political relationships with large parts of the world were deeply fractured. They knew about the travel bans. They knew about the immigration crackdowns. They knew that 39 countries, including World Cup participating nations, had citizens who could not freely enter the United States, and they signed the contract anyway because the money was too good to refuse. FIFA's famous motto is "Football unites the world," but right now, in Los Angeles, football is being used as a geopolitical weapon. Fans are being used as political pawns, and FIFA President Gianni Infantino is too busy having private meetings with Donald Trump and accepting peace prizes to say a single word in defense of the Iranian supporters who had their tickets ripped away 3 days before the tournament began. Iran's players have done nothing wrong. They qualified fairly, they have the right to compete, and their fans, who are not their government, who are not responsible for any war, who just love football, deserve to watch them play. What is happening to Iranian supporters right now is not about security, it is about politics, and FIFA is letting it happen without a whisper of protest. That is not football uniting the world. That is football being used to divide it. This story is not over, not even close. Iran plays their first match on June 15th against New Zealand right here in Los Angeles, and we will be covering every single development, every visa denial, every protest, every statement, as it happens live. Hit subscribe right now so you don't miss a single update. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Iran should be playing in America? And do you think FIFA should have done more to protect Iranian fans? Share this video, because the world needs to know what is really happening at this World Cup. This is FIFA Revolt. The fans are fighting back.